Hey everybody, it's Lindsay Rowland here. I am going to talk you through my dream project. I decided last minute I needed to do this, put all of my work into a Google site, so that's what we're looking at, and I hope I was able to put this in the right area so you guys can find it and have access. So when you get to my site, you can see there's the colleague side. I'm just going to click on that really quick. You can see I've got my purpose, the materials needed, implementation, the proposed schedule, standards, design decisions, and then all of my reasoning and rationale. You can visit that on your own if you would like to read it. And then the student side, we will go over this now. I chose to do my unit in a PowerPoint form based really just for the group of kids that I have. They really struggle with focus and attention, and I needed something as basic as I could get. So I took a unit that we already are supposed to teach in my district, and I just made it so that it was more basic and clear and less confusing. And if you would like to know more of my rationale, you can go read that in my colleague side. So we begin with the first day, day one, students. This will be on their Chromebook, so as I'm doing it up front, they have it on their Chromebooks. They access through Google Classroom, which they use often. So they begin with going to our classroom Padlet, the KWL chart, and they will fill in the columns. On the first day, they will fill in, if this loads, what we know about multiplication, and then they will fill in what we want to know about multiplication, and they will put their name on it. So I should have 29 things for what we know, 29 for what we want to know, and we can compare. And then we will go back to the lesson. And now they will follow this link, and it takes us to a Kahoot free assessment for multiplication. I am not going to sign up and do this right now, but I think most of us are familiar with Kahoot. If you would like to go in on your own and do this and see what I did for my quiz, you're more than willing to, or maybe if I have time, I'll do it at the end. We'll see. And then day one, I have it planned. It's really just repetition. You want to introduce these topics, you want kids to get it, and you don't want them to be overwhelmed. So we start with skip counting. It's something that they've done in the past. This is a third grade group I've got, so they are familiar with skip counting. We touch on things they already know, so they're comfortable and don't feel overwhelmed. The next page is equal groups. Just really solidifying what is an equal group. It seems easy, but in my unit in the past, they just kind of jump into stuff and we realize, whoa, kids aren't really clear on this. So we just want to be as clear as possible so that our students have the best chance to be successful with multiplication, because it's such a big part of math moving forward. We have repeated addition. And then we introduce the array, columns and rows, defining what it means to multiply a few different ways. So I would quiz them on, how do I read this sentence? 4 times 3 equals 12. That's the same thing as 4 groups of 3. Same thing as 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. It seems so repetitious to us because we're grown and we get it, but for kids who are just learning this, it needs to be broken down simple. and then telling them what is multiplication. It's putting equal groups together to find out the total. Introducing new vocabulary factors, the numbers being multiplied. The product is the answer to a multiplication problem. And then that's it for day 1. And day 2 through 3, 2, 3, and 4, we go into guided practice. So each day you go back and you review the slides previously just taught. And then, so on the second day, you would do skip count. You're going to practice with the whiteboards, and the details are in the colleague side of like how to implement this, what you need. So the second day is just practicing skip count. This should not be some big lengthy math. It's just review, repeat, make sure they understand this concept. On the third day, we are working with equal groups, and we have some candy today to use. And then repeated addition. While we have the candy, we'll also start doing some repeated addition with that. And again, the instructions for how to implement these slides are found in my colleague side. This is just literally what would be up on the screen during teaching, what students would have access to. So reference the colleague side for more information. And then the final day of guided practice is when we're working with arrays, and each kid has their own laminated grid paper so that we can practice drawing our rows and columns and counting the total and seeing how those relate to things. And remember, each day you review all of the slides up front. So each day they're getting another review, And then the final day, day 5, is wrap up. You would follow this link again to the Kahoot. I hope some of you do this. I'm not going to do it now for time, and go take my quiz. It's the same quiz, but they get to compete against each other, and they always like that. And then after the final assessment, we would go back to our KWL and fill in what we learned about this topic and see how far we grew, and celebrate the learning and prepare to move into our next unit, which is actually working with multiplication facts. Let's see. I think that's it for this portion of my assignment. I hope you guys like it. I hope it's decent, and I hope you go and read the colleague side on your own to see kind of my rationale. Thanks for listening.